Get started. So, I'm Josh Hales. I'm one of the professors here in the business department. I'm filling in for Alan, who couldn't be here today. But you guys aren't here to hear me. You guys are here to listen to somebody much more interesting than me, and that is Ryan and Melinda Christensen. And so Melinda is actually an alum of Snow College, and so we're glad to have her back and glad to see our students being successful later on, and so we're really happy to welcome her back. So I'm just going to read her bio for you guys real quick. So, faced with the daunting challenge of balancing the responsibilities of her church callings and the needs and activities of her husband and 6 young children, Melinda longed for a more efficient way to live her life. Inspired by a talk she heard about deliberate parenting and mothers who know, she envisioned a system that would help her live a more deliberate life and become more aware of what was happening in her own family. She wanted something that would encourage her to study and seek out better things in small and simple ways. Often the little things that are jotted down can help people focus a step at a time on what will ultimately help a person achieve their purpose and desires. Her contemplation led her to design the Life Organized Planner with the LDS mother in mind, including things she wanted to stay on top of to help her focus in being a more deliberate parent. The unique, original, fun, inspirational, and functional planner offers sections for visiting teaching children, family focus, family mission statements, the family proclamation, and family home evening planning. In January of 2013, when she and her husband Ryan talked about getting the planner printed, they found that one copy just wasn't cost efficient. Even printing 15 to 20 and selling the extras to friends and family wasn't cost efficient. So to arrive at a price point that was affordable, they ordered 50 planners and then created a simple one-page blog with a Buy Now PayPal button, and were surprised that most were sold before they were even printed. And they've been trying to keep up with demand ever since. They now have over 18,000 registered customers, over 24,000 likes on Facebook, and there are now 4 different versions of the planner, and they have customers both nationwide and around the world. And so I'm really excited for you guys to, and also for me to listen to this. And I hope you guys pay really good attention, because I guarantee sometime in the future, some of you guys are going to be sitting around thinking about, I really just can't fit my needs with the products that are out there. And so you're going to come up with something that's going to work for you. And so I hope you can listen to this and be a little bit inspired and have confidence in taking a bigger step and seeing if other people can benefit from what you come up with as well. And so I think a lot of times when we think of entrepreneurs, we think of the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerbergs, but I think Melinda's and Ryan's story is a really good example of sometimes you just need to have something that fits a need, and people are going to flock to it. So with that, we'll have Melinda and Ryan come up. Thanks.
Well, I am super excited to be back in Ephraim. It was 21 years ago that I had my first year here at Snow. And I love the feeling down here. I love how calm and inviting it is and how friendly the school is. And boy, it sure has changed a lot though. A lot of buildings knocked down and new ones built. It's exciting to see the growth and change that's happened down here. So a little bit more about ourselves. We have 6 kids. I'm going to show you a little picture. And they are our life. They keep us pretty busy. We always knew we wanted a big family, but just to let you know a little bit that a lot of people don't know is after our 4th baby, I kind of went through a little depression. Well, kind of a big depression. It lasted about 2 years. And I was hard to get out of bed. My husband pretty much had to do everything. He was a saint. He should give a lecture and course on how to be a good spouse to someone going through depression. But he got me the help I needed. He went and got me some tests done and found out it was my hormones, and they were a little messed up, so I got on some replacement pills, and within about 2-3 weeks, I started feeling so much better. And I all of a sudden had this great desire to do so many things that I had been letting fall to the wayside for quite a few years. And I was just like, I need one place to keep my goals and one place to keep these thoughts and a place to write down, some of the feelings I'd been having. And so I started creating a planner. I spent so much time designing this thing. I think Ryan thought, oh my gosh, well, at least she's not in bed. At least she's doing something. So this was the first thing I came up with, and it is a beast. And I thought it included everything, I needed for living, for life. And I towed this around it lasted about 4 months, I think, before I was like, forget it. That's just too much, too overwhelming. So my sister and I sat down and came up with another version, which was this. When I got it back from the printer, I'm like, oh no, that's just too big. Women aren't going to want to carry this around. So we revised it and decided we'd keep only the most important things that would help us be good parents and be able to accomplish our goals. And so that's what the new planner is now. It's a lot sleeker, a lot thinner. I forgot to bring one to show you. But this is mine now, but don't judge it because it's full of everything. So it's just about as big as that, but it's full. So that's kind of how the planner was born. And like the professor said in the intro, we were scared. I remember getting that bill to do those 50 planners. It was $1,500. We couldn't just fork out that money. We had bills to pay and mortgage and lots of kids, more coming on the way. And so I remember we just did it. We bit the bullet, and then we started pre-selling online, which is something my husband convinced me was the right thing to do, which I thought, we can't do that. We cannot pre-sell online before we even print the product. He said, yes, we can, and we did. And we had to keep reordering because we kept selling so many. And it was awesome, and to this day I'm convinced that is a really great way to go to help you fund things. And Ryan will talk more about that later. So just to give you a little, we had the planner, and it was getting more and more popular. We decided to start a Facebook page, to start a blog, and it was just really popular. We decided we wanted to get it into some stores. We went to BYU bookstore, and we're told, no, ladies don't want this. It's put it in black and white and make it, half as big. But I really believed in this product, and I really believed that this was a need that a lot of women had. I was into my phone and tech savvy. I do love my phone, and I use it for a lot of things. But I was missing out on some things and would get so distracted on my phone, I'd forget about some of the things that mattered most. So I stuck with it, and I pushed, and I said, no, women will love this, I promise. So he let me go ahead and open up a little stand at the BYU Women's Conference. And sure enough, the women loved it. And the sales kept coming in, and it was just so cool. So I guess what I want to say starting out is, timing is a lot, but passion is a lot. Don't let people tell you, you can't do something or your product isn't good enough. If you really push it and you really try to get it into the right audience, that's key. Then you'll see results. So we were still a very small, growing business, and we got some of our planners into the BYU bookstore, into LDS bookstore online, but we were still shipping from home, and it got to be quite a nightmare. I'll just show you this picture. Where'd it go? I am not good at this. Oh, okay. Ryan? Let's see. Here we go. This is our living room. And that's Ryan in the corner. And do you see his face? That is how we felt. It was daunting. It was overwhelming. We needed to build a team. It was just the two of us and our kids shipping. And it took over our lives. It was an everyday occurrence, and it was crazy. So we started kind of outsourcing, and it was a really smart move on our part. And I just recommend that we build teams, build networks, build your contact list, and ask people what they've done in your specific line of business to help alleviate some of the stress, because it can be very stressful building a business, from home especially. So I think one of the best pieces of advice I would get is to know your strengths and weaknesses. I am ADD. I always have been. Ask my college teachers from here if they're still here. I love to create and design, but I hate the customer service part of things, and I hate any logistic things like that. I just want to create and be able to express myself that way. So one of the benefits of having Ryan is he's very good at marketing and very good at customer service and doing those things that I hate. And so I would say get people that have strengths on your team that would make up for your weaknesses. I think that would be very important. So I just want to have Ryan come up here now and talk more about the logistics of our business and see if you guys have any questions. We're going to open up to questions. We have a few incentives if you have some questions too. So this is Ryan, and he's my rock. He's awesome.
Okay, we have 36 candy bars, so that's 36 questions. And that'll cover the time. So, most people say we'll get to questions at the end, but then they talk too long and then you run out of time for questions. So we're going to do questions now, and then we can fill in any gap with more of our story. So based on what Melinda said so far, who has a question? Yes?
What was your hardest thing to overcome? Like you were talking about how you had to find somebody to ship it off. Was that your hardest thing, or was there something else that was harder in designing it or growing your company or whatever?
What's your answer?
My answer was like the whole logistics of it, getting the paperwork to match up with the shipping labels, and to get the shipping label matched up with the packaging. And like literally our 7-year-old son was doing this, and it didn't always work out nice. Didn't always turn out. So that took a lot of trial and error to figure out our system of how we could automate more, how we could make this less stressful on our family, and get the computer working for us and programs working for us better. Did that answer your question? Okay.
My answer is stress and fear of failure and debt. Because you always have in the back of your mind, what if it doesn't work out? What if people stop ordering? What if there's a problem? And if you keep that conversation going, it just wears you down. And the stress, like, of if you have a million things you have to do, if you can't find some way to systematically tackle it, at least for me, then it just overwhelms you, and then you don't do anything. So you have to be able to break it down so you can tackle something enormous into smaller pieces. And then the debt also, as it grew, we had to buy more planners and borrow more money, and that can also, I don't know, I think to be successful in business, you have to have a certain acceptance of risk. That you're willing to take on risk without knowing for sure if it's going to work out, but do everything you can to try and make it work out. And that's an important part, because otherwise the stress and the fear can just shut you down and then you stop. And I think that's how a lot of businesses go under, because they can't manage the chaos. Which candy bar do you want? Quick.
Don't
Watch
hit
out.
anybody's head, sweetie. Oh! You got her head. That's bad. It's really bad.
I'm sorry, do you want?
We'll give you our insurance number.
All right, okay, next question. Yes.
So how long did it take from the initial time where you guys planned on making this product to when it first became a success?
So once I got my fickle part of this whole creative thing down, I'm sorry, repeat the question. I love your signal there.
Thank you, Jamie.
How long did it take to get
From when we
from
started,
when we
to,
started
when
to where we are?
Well, it took you, the design process took, how long?
Honestly, 4 years. So we started this 4 years ago, and just this year I started to automate my design system to where they're templates. And now I can just go change things out, which was a really smart move. Because, so I just go and design the key elements, and then I can go and insert them. So that,
But
4 years.
we started selling them probably January or February 4 years ago. Like I said, our first order was only for 50 planters. But by the time we had those 50 done, we'd already sold all of them. So we had to order more and more. And that first year, I'm not even sure how many we sold, but it grew after that. We did 5,000 the year after that, and then 14,000 the year after that, and now we're up to 21,000. So we've gone from that first order of $1,500, seeming like a lot, to now, so far this year, we've done $325,000 in sales.
And
So-
we are just started out kind of with the LDS customer base in mind, but we had a lot of moms contact us saying, hey, I'm not Mormon, I'm not LDS, but I still love this idea of the family focus. We want a planner without all that stuff, but it still has the home and family section. It still has, the kid tracker pages and stuff. So we grew our audience too in that amount of time, which was really cool to see.
Which one do you want? Good choice.
That's my favorite. All right.
Okay.
So, do you guys go to meeting like that, or just kind of following what happened in humans, and why it's so hard to take all these things and learn accounting and marketing, all these things that you think, I guess.
Yeah, I never did, and that's why I feel like you guys are so lucky to have classes like this. He said, did we ever take any classes on entrepreneurship? I knew I was going to forget to do that. Did we have any training on this? And the answer was pretty much no. A lot of it was self-taught. He had another business that pretty much supported our family, and he ran that really well. So he already did have a lot of the know-hows with marketing and stuff, but not me. No, I was like, what? I just want to give them away for free. So he helped me realize, all the cool steps.
My dad was self-employed, so that's more normal for me, but I never did anything. I went to school, but I dropped out, and I've been self-employed our whole married life, so about 15 years. And I run another website that sells magnet mailers, and so that's what I did. But I think the assumption is that if you go into business, you have to know things. But you really don't. You really figure it out as you go along. It's more having an attitude that you think you can figure it out and that you can learn, and then it comes over time. Because the things we've had to figure out, like we bought some product from China, we had no idea what we were doing, and we had lots of trouble and lots of mess. But now if you ask this, okay, here's a quote. Someone asked somebody, how do you make the right decisions? And the guy said, experience. And I said, well, how do you get experience? By making the wrong decisions. There's a lot of truth to that, because we've learned a lot by what we've done wrong, and now we can do it better. But there's no pre-qualifications you have to go into business, except a willingness to learn and adapt.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Passion is huge. Got to have passion. Yes, right.
What do you know now that you wish you would have known to start?
The question is, what do you know now that you wish you would have known when you had started? What do you think?
You go first.
My answer is systems. I think if you have a system in place, that helps you make things more automatic, so it doesn't require as much of your attention. So my example is, in our old house, before we moved, we had a lot of grass, and we watered it with a hose and a sprinkler. And there was always one spot that was green and one spot that was ugly, and you'd have to move the sprinkler around. It was a lot of work, and it still didn't look very good. But now we have a sprinkling system, and the sprinkling system waters the grass at 5 in the morning when we're not even up yet, and the grass looks great, and it's a lot less work. And so in business, I think if you can build systems, they help you get to success with less effort into all the decisions, because it's already laid out. That's my answer.
That's a good answer. Mine would be to stay true to who you are. I know that sounds cliche and very churchy, but it's very true. There are a lot of blogs out there. There are a lot of websites. There are a lot of people selling products. I know your generation, my generation, we're online based, really. We see a lot. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to do their product. Don't try to, imitate exactly everything they're doing. Take what you have to offer, use your voice, and then just stay true to that and be consistent. Your audience, your people, your tribe will appreciate that, and they'll stay loyal. And the others that want you to change, to do it like this person or have a planner like this person, they'll eventually maybe move on but you need to stay true.
I think one other thing to go along with that, like Melinda mentioned, when we started selling the planner, we really sold the idea before we sold the product, right? Like when we created this ugly free blog on blogger.com, right? And we put on there a description of what the planner would be because it didn't really exist yet. And we did some screenshots, and then we did a PayPal buy now button. And so really we sold the idea before the product. And the benefit of that was as people gave us money for it, we knew that that's like validation, that people would buy it and that there was a demand for it, and then you can move forward with more confidence. But a lot of times people keep the business idea trapped in their head, and they think people will buy it, and they have an idea of how much they'd pay for it, but they don't have any proof. So if you can, the sooner you can get proof that someone will buy it, the better. Then you can move forward with more confidence, and plus, once you sell it, then you have to finish it. So that's motivation to get it done, and then we could move forward. So
I have a question for you guys. Who has started their own business in this room? Yeah? Is there somebody willing to say what they started? Just really quick.
Hey, you can get a candy bar too in the back.
Yeah? Do you want to come up here?
Whoa.
Because I think this is important. I think you could start earning money now. I tell my niece, she draws insane, cool calligraphy, art, things like that. She could start up her own business now. You can do this now, pay for school. You can start the process now, even if you only have the vision. You can start to lay it out and even practice. You could practice without starting before. Could you tell us just a little bit about what you did?
I run Minecraft servers.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Sweet.
So,
How did you get started? What made you want to do it?
I had my appendix out a couple years ago, and I couldn't do anything, couldn't play any sports. So I got into it, and I couldn't find what I liked, so I wanted to make my own, and I've been doing it ever since.
Very cool.
Thanks. I love that line. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I went and I created it.
That's like a golden rule of business. So here's another question along the same line. If you wanted to start a business now, what do you need to do first? Here, I saw candy bars. What do you need to do first? Yes?
I think we need to plan out things first.
Like what?
She said she thinks we need to plan out things first. Such as?
Such as what products we want to sell, how are they going to be, what kind of customers are we targeting, what price are the product will be.
Right, those are good.
That's an excellent
What
answer.
products, what customers, what's the price?
Think of the Lorax, right? The Onceler, he makes that Thneed thing, whatever it is. And he says, his line is that a Thneed is something that everyone needs. Is that true? Are there products that everybody needs or will buy? Toilet paper. That's what I thought of too. Toilet paper. Okay, and besides toilet paper, can you make a product that everyone will want? No? Why do you say no? Anyone else? What do you think? Yeah.
Every person is different in their own way, so what they have an idea of how something should be or what they want is different from another person.
Everyone's different. Everyone has a different idea of what people need.
So when you guys are trying to start a business and come up with a product, don't be too generic. The more you can zero in on a particular demographic or a segment, the more success you're going to have. Because our planner isn't just a planner, it's made specifically for moms, and our very first product was made for Mormon moms. If you consider the whole world, that's a very small segment, but you can still have a successful business with a small segment of society. So, like she said, you need to zero in on a customer base. Don't just say it's for women. Say it's for women who have children. It's for women who are ages 24 to 35. And then you can zero in. And then when you market, you can speak their language and craft it just for them instead of trying to make something for everybody. Oh, here, you can have a candy bar.
And the toilet paper. What kind
Toilet
of-
paper comment. Yeah, that was a good one. Do you want a different one?
What kind do you want? This is my second favorite.
So you throw it this time, see if you do better.
I go under. Or Patron.
Oh, that's good. Yes, in the back.
I'll handle this.
Go ahead.
No. No,
Oh,
they.
repeat the question.
Is how do you find a good manufacturer? Is China really all we have to look toward? No, there are so many, and just even here in Utah, there are so many good family companies that are competitive. They can be competitive. Yes, China is probably the cheapest, but to me, I weighed, the pros and cons. Like our whole shipment got stuck in that longshoreman strike. Do you remember that?
Who's ever heard of
2
the
years ago?
Longshoremen's Union?
It was a nightmare. And these were our Christmas, shipping gifts to people and everything, and they were just stuck in the harbor. That doesn't happen all the time. China is a good place. I serve my mission in Taiwan. I love, the Chinese people, but I just think whenever we can bring business to America, that should be a good priority. You should weigh that. No, we don't make as much money, but I feel good knowing we're supporting local families.
Yeah, China usually is the cheapest, but they also take the longest. You can order something now, and it could take 6 months before it gets here, and that's if there aren't any delays or if it doesn't fall off the boat. So there's some. No, that's a true story. I heard about someone else that happened to. But as far as finding a manufacturer, like for us, the company we found to bind the planner was a referral from the company that was shipping it. And the company that now prints the planner was a referral from the guy that binds it. So network. I mean, usually it's just a matter of being willing to have conversations with people and ask them questions. And of course, you can Google a lot of stuff online. That's a great way to find it. But usually through people, usually someone you knows someone else that can do what you want. So that's our recommendation. I'm not going to try and throw a candy bar to you, but you can. Okay. Yes. Yes.
So what kept you going? Because I would have taken one look at that room and be like, okay, I'm shipping them all out and I'm done.
Yeah.
What?
That was me. I was 9 months pregnant, and I was frozen. I refused to look at my emails. I refused to look at the social media, anything. And I'm like, we're done. We're through. They're stuck in the harbor, and we're going under. And I would just sit in my bed, and I'm very hormonal when I'm pregnant anyway. But he just basically just got us through. Like, you just don't give up. You just push forward.
I think, to me, I guess I kind of look at entrepreneurship and business kind of like a game. And so I guess I kind of like the challenge of trying to solve a problem and figure it out. And systems and accomplishing something. So, and that's a very true point. I mean, there are times I felt like scrapping the whole thing because it felt like nothing was working. And that's where you just have to push through it. I guess there's nothing else besides just determination to not quit, and usually you can make it through on the other side. That's our case. I mean, that could have been the end of it if we had decided it was too much work, that it was too expensive, and there was too much stress. We could have just killed it then. But it's been a lot better since then, and it's grown since then. So keep that hope that things will get better even when it's going really poorly. What candy bar do you want?
Right here.
When did it go from just a beginning idea for yourself to something that you wanted to thinking of maybe putting it out there?
He asked, when did it go from just being an idea I had to actually putting it out to see if others were interested? it's probably, I did a post on Google. I think I remember right. I published on Google, and there was a network there of ladies that were like, "This is the coolest idea ever. You know, we need this." And then I was like, "Oh, there's some people." And then, you know, I shared it on my Facebook page, my personal one, and some friends were like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." And then when there were about, I don't know, 75 to 100 people that I'm like, "Okay, this could be something. This could be big." And then I think I Googled, we've been into it for about 5 or 6 months. I think I hashtagged paper planners on Instagram, and that's when I was blown away. There is a whole community still, believe it or not, of paper planners. And not the Franklin Covey type. Like they want cute, they like stickers, they like cute and functional. So, you know, we've had women requesting now to do a more man planner. I don't even know how I do that. Do you guys even write down anything, men here anymore? But so we're investigating that. But yeah, when you get a handful of people interested and then requesting for certain things, you should kind of start to investigate that and maybe move forward.
We started really small, like we said, because like on the first order of planners, we ordered 50 and they cost us like $29 a piece, and we only sold them for $35. So the first round wasn't really to make money as much as it was to test it and see if it would turn into something. So when you have an idea or you have something that you think will work, you want to start small and see if you can actually get people to buy something, and then you can scale it from there. And like she said, with the pre-order thing, that helps you pay for it. What do you want?
Back here?
So, you talked about how entrepreneurship is a game, and you talked about a lot of risks. You talked about breaking down. Looking at my future businesses that I want to start, I've seen these risks. What is the best solution that you found, besides breaking it down, to help you deal with the stress? For example, one of the businesses I would like to eventually start, I've done the math, is probably going to take about $500,000 to get money. You know, that's a big risk, and it gets me stressed when it's almost to the point where I'm ready to not even try that business because it's a really high need. So what did you do to eliminate that stress, to find that focus, and get the motivation to keep going?
His question was, how do you handle the stress and keep motivation to move forward even when it seems really scary and overwhelming? And honestly, it's all inside your head. Like I said, I've been self-employed our whole married life, and for a lot of that time, I lived in a state of constant fear that even though we'd made it through that month, that next month people weren't going to buy, or something wasn't going to work, or I was going to have a competitor that was going to knock me out. And I lived with that stress for a long time. One thing I'd recommend is a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. You've read that? Yeah, it's an excellent book. Honestly, it sounds cliche, but it changed the way I thought. And since then, I've had, I think, a better time dealing with that stress. But also the perspective that, one thing that I think is, if you work for a small company, like I'm saying anything less than 100 employees, you're really working for someone that's self-employed, if you think about it. So if someone says it's too risky to be self-employed because the business might fail, in a way that also applies if you're an employee for a small business because you're working for someone that's self-employed. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, that was a shift that there's risk in anything. So it's just more of what kind of risk do you want? And I decided that I prefer the risk of doing it on my own and letting more of that control be in someone else's hands. But when it comes to like the debt part of it and the money part, that can be really draining. What do you have to add?
So, I don't know, this was kind of a 90s movie, but have you guys seen What About Bob? Baby steps, right? Like, I would recommend a planner. Like, planning things out. And like actually setting goals and creating little baby steps that would get you to your big, huge, daunting goal. Which, my goal, I want to own my own printing press in 5 years. And that's millions of dollars. So, you know, how am I going to get there? Well, just one step at a time. I'm going to go here next week and I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk to this person and find out what they did. I'm going to write this down so I remember it. I'm going to take notes like crazy. I'm going to listen. I'm going to try things out. I think it's awesome that nowadays, which I always wanted in high school and college, is to go try out different jobs before I committed to it. I think you can do that. You can research those things, and you're at such a awesome point in your life. It's being so young with everything to look forward to practice, try things out. Try starting a blog. If you are not a good writer now, make some goals, write them down, and work toward those. Like next week, I'm going to try to, really focus on key points, here, and not make my writing more focused. Next month, I'm going to talk to this writer and interview them. So I would say setting goals, and don't let it, take over your whole life. Anxiety is huge nowadays. Everybody's anxious for things and stuff, but just calm down and let time and the process and things kind of lead you.
Let me just add, I think managing stress is a skill just like any other skill, and it's only something you can learn with effort and practice, but it's something you can get good at and get better at. I'd like to share something real quick before we move on to other questions. This is something I've been thinking about lately. I think the great exchange in life is exchanging time for money. That's what most of us are going to spend a large part of our life doing. Is you go to work, you put in a certain amount of time, and in exchange they pay you a certain amount of money. So, options here. When it comes to time, if you work at a movie theater taking tickets, you might get paid $9 an hour. And you work for 8 hours, you get $72 for your effort. If you do like you're doing here, you go to school, you get educated, you learn particular skills that aren't relevant to everyone, this can increase. And so let's say you get a job where you make $100 an hour, you work for 8 hours, you get $800 instead of $72. Even though both people put in the same amount of time, the amount of money they get out of it is totally different. Right? And the other thing is, because you're spending your time, money isn't the only reward. There's also spending the time itself. So if you have a choice between different jobs, you should try and include something that you enjoy besides just doing it for the money, because over time that doesn't become very rewarding. But in pretty much every situation, it's a hard exchange. Even if you're starting here at minimum wage, or you're a doctor that makes a ridiculous amount of money per hour, you still always have to put in the time to get the money. With one exception, as in my opinion. What is that exception? Business. When you have a business with a system, it's like I was talking about the sprinklers. When you have a system in place, the system works even when you don't. So the system puts in time, and you get money out without an equivalent input of time, right? In our case, our system is our website, or Facebook ads, or Instagram. We have people that buy pretty much around the clock. Some people buy in the middle of the night, all day long, because the system is working. Like, it's a wonderful place to be. And we, after this whole mess with the shipping and everything, we went on vacation. We took a break. We went to San Francisco, and thank you. We decided we were going to have a good time, so we stayed at a nice hotel. We went out to eat. We went shopping. We spent what money we wanted. When we came home, we had more money than when we left. That's only possible, in my opinion, when you have a system in place that works for you. If you can build that, then it breaks this equation. It severs the connection between time and money, and you can get one without putting in the other. It's like the sprinkling system. The sprinkling system keeps our grass green. We don't have to do the work, but we did have to pay for the sprinkling system and build it. And occasionally you have to tweak the system if something breaks down, it doesn't work there. But you get the analogy I'm making? This is possible. And I think it's a wonderful thing. This is why I like the game, because it changes the rules. Okay, other questions? Yes?
Are you planning on expanding your line
Yeah. So the system they're talking about, okay, are we planning on expanding our business in the future? Yes. Part of my problem is, I want to be involved in too many things. But I need to designate myself as like the product developer and creator, since it's only from my brain that these things come. He can't do it for me. I can hire some designers, which I'm thinking about doing also. But yeah, we needed to set up a system to where I could dedicate more time. We have bookmarks right now, and I'm wanting to introduce a whole new sticker line by January of all the different seasons. And, we want to do some scrap pads that fit in our planner. Yeah, so we are excited about that, and it's fun. It is fun to put yourself into something and have people respond. It's very rewarding. So.
And it's a real benefit when you have an existing customer base, because if you offer then products that go along with that other product, you already have existing customers to purchase it. So you have a lot more security there that you're going to have success with that.
Yeah, but allow the imperfections and the craziness, I guess, of the whole process. I've tried to not get so frazzled like I did a few years ago with mishaps or things like that. I tried to just take a step back and be like, okay, this is not the end of the world. We're going to take these steps and we're going to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, even big companies have problems. You heard about Samsung's batteries, right? I mean, you would think when the company reached that point, they would get past things like that. But there's always things that go wrong. And you just have to work through them and do your best to work it out. And like with the case when our planners were stuck in the harbor, that was bad because we wanted to get them out by Christmas and it wasn't going to happen. And so we decided to tell everyone what was going on. We sent out an email to all our customers. We explained what was happening, how they were stuck, what we were hoping for, and that worked really well. It's a lot better than not telling them or telling them the wrong information. In my opinion, bad news is better than no news. And people appreciated knowing what was going on, and it got better because we were honest with them.
All right, how would you sum things up?
I think you can start a business right now, like Melinda said. It doesn't have to be something in the future. There doesn't have to be these prerequisites. In my mind, it pretty much comes down to solving a problem. And then taking that and getting the word out there to find out if there are people that are interested. And you may have a lot of ideas that don't pan out. You shouldn't be in love with the idea as much as you're in love with the process. Because if you come up with something you think is a cool idea and you get it out there and nobody's willing to pay you for it, nobody else cares, then it's probably not going to work. And that's fine. I've had tons of ideas that just aren't going to see the light of day. But take the idea, and before you do anything else, before you design business cards, create a logo, try and build out a website, see if you can sell something. That's where everything happens, is if you can sell something, that's the beginning of the business.
All right, my summary, I would hope that you could take away from this is to have fun. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something that they can give. You hear the cliche, change the world, but I don't like that cliche. Change your family, change your community, change what you can around you. And those types of things do change the world. Be aggressive, but be patient. Does that work? Try to take things in perspective. And love this time that you have to experiment and to listen at school and learn. And be a true badger. Only over 21 years old. And that's all I have to say. Thank you guys, you've been great.
Are we done?
We're done.
Yeah, we're done. Thank you. What?
I just wanted to mention there was a gentleman back here who talked about, how do you know how to get your money and do all that. Our next week's presenter is Alan Hall, and he's a very experienced entrepreneur, angel investor. He is the champion of entrepreneurs in Utah. Does all kinds of contests. So you'll want to talk to him. And also, Opportunity Quest is coming up in October, and that's where you can start getting money. Do a business plan,